You wake up, put the kettle on, and reach for the same thing you've been drinking every morning for the last 20 years. It's a ritual. It feels healthy. It feels right. But after 60, what you drink in that first hour after waking up has a quietly different effect on your body than it did a decade ago. And most people never find out until they're already dealing with the consequences. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to drink instead and why your legs in particular are the first place your body sends the signal that something is off. And stick around for number 4, because it's the one drink most people assume is helping their circulation, and it's actually doing the opposite. There's also one thing I want to come back to near the end, something most people do right after their morning drink that quietly works against everything else. It's not about what you're drinking, it's about what happens in the 15 minutes after. Most people never connect it to how their legs feel by afternoon, and once you hear it, you won't be able to ignore it. Here's the thing, you haven't been doing anything wrong. You've been following the same logic most of us were taught decades ago. Drink water, maybe have some juice, get your coffee in. These habits made sense, and for most of your life, they served you reasonably well. But after 60, your body genuinely operates by a different set of rules. Your circulation slows. The valves in the veins of your legs become less efficient at pushing blood back up toward your heart. Your kidneys handle fluid balance differently, and the way your body responds to what you drink in the morning, especially in that first window after you wake up, has a real, measurable effect on how your legs feel, how much they swell, how heavy they get by evening, and whether that low-level ache becomes a permanent feature of your day. This isn't about dramatic disease or disaster. It's about a gradual shift that most people chalk up to just getting older, when a lot of it is actually adjustable. Let's get into it. The first drink to talk about is plain water, but not the way most people drink it. Most people over 60 drink water reactively. They drink when they're thirsty. The problem is that after 60, your thirst sensation becomes a less reliable signal. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already mildly dehydrated. And mild dehydration in older adults has a direct effect on the legs. When your blood is even slightly thicker from low fluid intake, your body has a harder time moving it efficiently through the smaller vessels in your calves and feet. The result is that heavy, tired feeling most people notice by mid-afternoon. The fix isn't complicated. Drink 1 full glass of water, at least 8 ounces, within the first 15 minutes of waking up, before coffee, before anything else. Not because of some wellness trend, because your body has been in a fasting, low fluid state for 7 or 8 hours, and your circulation is asking for it. 1 glass, first thing. That's the starting point. Now, the next one is where it gets more interesting, because this is a drink most people over 60 are actively trying to consume more of, convinced it's helping them. Orange juice has been a breakfast staple for generations, and the association with health is deeply baked in. Vitamin C, antioxidants, it feels like a responsible choice. But here's what most people miss. Commercial orange juice, even the kind labeled 100% natural with no added sugar, delivers a large head of fructose into your bloodstream very quickly. And after 60, your body's ability to regulate blood sugar in the morning hours is already naturally reduced. That spike in blood sugar triggers a cascade that includes inflammation, and inflammation in the walls of your blood vessels directly affects circulation, including the vessels that supply your legs. This doesn't mean orange juice is poison. It means timing and form matter. A small glass of juice with a meal lands differently than a large glass on an empty stomach. And for many people over 60, switching to eating an actual orange rather than drinking the juice makes a quiet but real difference, because the fiber slows everything down in a way that works with your body rather than against it. But here's where it becomes a real problem, and this is the one most people never see coming. Coffee is the most widely consumed morning drink in the world, and for most people over 60, it's non-negotiable. The good news is that moderate coffee consumption is genuinely associated with a range of health benefits, including for heart and vascular health. But here's what's catching people: the timing and the quantity. Caffeine is a vasoconstrictor. It causes blood vessels to narrow slightly, which temporarily reduces blood flow. In your 30s and 40s, your vascular system is flexible enough to compensate quickly. After 60, your arterial walls are naturally less elastic, and that compensation is slower.
Multiple large coffees in the first hour after waking, especially before water, before food, can leave your legs working against a slightly restricted circulation for the first part of your morning. The habit most people have is coffee first, everything else second. Flipping it, water first, then coffee, with or after something to eat, changes how your vascular system handles the morning. Most doctors won't bring this up unless you specifically ask, but the people who make this switch often notice a difference in leg heaviness within a few weeks. We're about halfway through, and what's coming up next is honestly the part most people never hear about. It's not a food trend or a supplement being pushed anywhere. It's one of the oldest, most studied drinks in the world, and its specific effect on circulation in older adults is something most people are only starting to understand. Green tea has been consumed for thousands of years, and the research on it is some of the most consistent in nutritional science. But the reason it matters specifically for your legs after 60 comes down to something called EGCG, a compound in green tea that acts as both an anti-inflammatory and a mild vasodilator. That means it gently supports the opening of blood vessels rather than restricting them. For older adults who deal with leg swelling, heaviness, or that end-of-day ache in the calves, swapping one of their morning coffees for a cup of green tea 3 or 4 times a week is one of the lowest effort, highest return adjustments they can make. It doesn't need to replace coffee, it doesn't need to be every day, but as a regular part of your morning rotation, it works with the physiology of aging circulation in a way that very few drinks do. 1 cup, moderately brewed, 2 to 4 times a week. That's all this requires. And remember what I mentioned at the start. We're almost there. The thing that happens after the drink, it ties directly to everything we've covered, and it'll make sense now. The 5th drink is warm lemon water, and I want to be precise about why it belongs here, because it's been turned into a wellness cliché, and buried underneath all of that is something genuinely useful. After 60, lymphatic drainage slows. The lymphatic system, which handles fluid that accumulates in your tissues, including the tissues of your lower legs, depends on movement and hydration to function. It has no pump of its own. Warm water in the morning with a small amount of lemon supports gentle hydration, while the mild acidity of the lemon appears to support digestive function in ways that reduce overall systemic inflammation. Less inflammation means less fluid retention. Less fluid retention means less swelling in the legs by late afternoon. This isn't a miracle drink, but it's a genuinely low-cost morning habit that works in the right direction for the specific issues that show up in the legs after 60. Warm, not hot, half a lemon. First thing or alongside your morning water. That's it. Now here's the thing I mentioned at the very beginning, the habit that quietly cancels out a lot of what you drink. After most people have their morning drink, they sit down, they watch the news, they have breakfast at the table, and then move to a chair. And they stay there, sometimes for an hour or two, before they really move. Here's why this matters so much specifically after 60. Your calf muscles are sometimes called your second heart. When they contract, when you walk, when you stand, when you move, they actively push blood from your lower legs back up toward your heart. When you're sedentary in the morning, that pumping action isn't happening. Whatever you've just drunk, however well you've hydrated, your circulation is still fighting gravity without any help. A 10-minute walk within 30 to 45 minutes of waking up changes this entirely. Not a workout, not a structured exercise session, just movement. 10 minutes, enough to activate those calf muscles and get your morning circulation actually moving. This is the habit nobody talks about in the context of leg health, and it connects everything because the best morning drink in the world works better in a body that's been given a chance to move. This isn't about overhauling your life before breakfast. It's about a small sequence of choices that your body after 60 is genuinely primed to respond to. Water first, juice in moderation with food, coffee after water, not instead of it, green tea a few times a week, and warm lemon water if it suits you, and 10 minutes of movement before you settle in for the morning. You don't need to do all of these at once. Start with one. Most people start with the water, first glass, first thing, and notice a difference in how their legs feel by early afternoon within a week or two. Small shifts, made consistently, are what actually move the needle at this stage, and now you know exactly where to start. If this was useful, please subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from, and it's all built around what actually matters after 60. If this helped, a like and subscribe means more people find it, and it keeps this kind of content coming.